we're probably a K off the little Billabong turn off, probably not even that, Tumbarumba Road. Back in 1956, and it's going to be a bit noisy here because we are just off the highway. 1956 was a very wet year in the Riverina, and because back then the Great Southern Road, or then it had been called the Hume Highway at that point, was mostly dirt all the way down through the guts. Places like Little Billabong, the sections that started back up at Tarcutta. I'll start overlaying some photos here and a bit of death by PowerPoint. Before I do that, I'll just fill in. Start at Tarcutta. There were some sections along down here where you got off Aeroplane Hill or Kiamba and down onto the flats here where the road just turned to pus. Trucks started getting bogged, and they end up closing the highway and putting a 5-ton limit on the highway itself, or on the road itself. So there is only one video I found about it on YouTube. I'll try and play that now, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and we'll keep the story going. So I don't know if that worked or not. I won't know until I start editing the video together, but if it didn't, I'll start throwing some overlaid photos over, and apologise, it won't be 50 minutes like it was in last week's video. The road got that wet here. They were dumping rock, they were putting in concrete as mesh, whatever they could get in the road to try and make a bit of a hard base to build it up. And as you'll see, if the dozer pushing, it was just slop. I'm assuming it's a D6. It's very similar to the D6 8U I showed a photo of that we had on the property. Obviously, being a bit older, I was meant to call the old man and see what year that cable blade dozer was, but it might be a D6 4U or something, or might be even a D5. But it out here pushing. And the new highway's gone in, so that embankment's a lot higher than what it used to be. Billabong Creek's just down here, where you'll see that bridge where it looks down over it. I would have thought there'd be a plaque or something here. One of the big six, or the main six that was involved in Razorback, actually fought to keep this old section of highway here when they done the duplication, because of its significance. But there's no plaque, or no plaque or markers that I can see, which is a shame. The only thing we've got to go on is these beautiful big gum trees. Now, in that photo where you see the dozer pushing, there's a line of gum trees either side of the road, and up past here where the truck's parked, it opens up in the big fields either side. I know a lot of towns, Corryong, Wodonga, Albury, had their sort of Anzac memorial drives, and trees were planted in memorial of the returned soldiers and those that fought and died overseas. Looking at the size of those trees, and I'll bring the photo back up here of that dozer pushing, look at the size of those trees. They're probably a good 10 years old, 56, 47, 46, 45, when the war ended, 45, so it's a good bet that those trees were planted at the end of the war. Which now makes those trees, that makes these trees here, I'm going to math this and I'm going to bugger up, I'm going to say 70 something years, 76 years. And because these big trees are 76 years old, it also means that all these other trees were not here in 1956, which is why a lot of these photos, a lot of the paddocks are just barren, bare. There's no timber. There's some timber over further. Behind this big gum tree, there are a line of pine over there that you can see in the back of one video, which obviously it's been replanted because pine does not last that long. But yeah, we'll go for a walk. Get off there. So down there where the road starts to come back into the new alignment, there's a lot of sections there where you can see there's the rock in the ground. I'm sure if you went for a work metal detector, there's a viewer, McAfee dog trailer, truck and dog. If that's you, nice horn, nice rig. Anyway, back to it. You can see down there it's all dug up. A lot of that stuff was left. And then even here, the original tar asphalt's still here. Like there's no bitumen as in rock in it. It's mostly just tarmac asphalt. But it's still here. Still a sign of a time gone by. And these big gum trees. And see, this here would have been part of an old hut as well. You can still see the rock here in some sections. Like something like that would have been perfect for attaching a plaque to, but I've already got about 6 golden orb spiders on my legs walking down through the grass, but so that's all going to be exposed rock from 80 odd years ago. But yeah, as I said, it started up near Tarcutta. There's photos. I'm not going to have them in any particular order here as they go through, but it'll start with photos of Tarcutta on the plains this side of it where the old Tumbarumba railway line crosses. Just trucks, as soon as they got off the side of the road, they went down. As soon as you lose that hard pack, that's sort of all over Red Rover. And then a couple of sections along here where well, that sounds like a good Sir Jake's. Another tip truck. He must be going up Tumber Road. Yeah, the other side of Kiamba, there was a couple of sections there where it went to crap as well. That bulldozer, there's a news story to say, that bulldozer was up. I had a property up at the top of Kiamba, which is Aeroplane Hill, anyone that uses a Hume. That's the modern name for it. It actually walked all the way down here to Billabong Creek to work to work on the mud pie, the mud hole. But shame all this rubbish is down here. Some decent chunks of rock. That hasn't got a plaque on it, has it? No. No, so bits of rock sitting there where they laid. And back then, the transport industry and locals and that, they wanted the army to come in and get the job done. The engineers, all that sort of stuff. even property owners, people with floats with gear around, get down here. Even just put side roads in so they could get around, because the freeway was closed, or freeway I say, the highway was closed for a couple of weeks. Trucks were stopped at Holbrook, trucks were stopped at Tarcutta. You'll see in that video or in the photos here, drivers were just stuck. They ate all the fresh produce off the back of the trailers. When that ran out, locals were supplying food to them. That would have been coming in across from Wagga, or down from Gundagai. But it's definitely a different time. Blokes sleeping across the seats. I suppose if you got a single cab now or a day cab, you'd be doing the same thing. But yeah. If we had the same thing happen now, where Mother Nature decided to close the freeway again, we've had it, or others have had it up north at the Bruce Highway and that sort of thing. Mother Nature shows her wrath, and yeah, the freeway gets shut. It's bad enough now when a truck goes over and blocks the highway and closes it, or a fatal like what happened last week or the week before in closing the freeway that way. So it's one of the big two incidents that shut the Hume Road, the Hume Highway, the Great Southern Road, for a few weeks. The other one, of course, is Razorback. Without going too far into that, mid-70s, 75, 76, 74, around there somewhere, the truck blockade up on top of Razorback Mountain. That's a story for someone that travels the northern end of the Hume. I've heard a bit about it, but I haven't done much research into it. But yeah, the ghosts of the Bedfords, the Dodgers, the old B model Max, heading up. Even here, the old asphalt's still here, getting grown over by time. So that was some photos of it, and that video if it worked. If you're ever in Tarcutta, the Tarcutta post office has got some photos on the wall in there, which is good to see. There was speculation that the footage of that bulldozer was on the Stewart Highway, but in Tarcutta they've got the same photo of that dozer pushing mud, and underneath they've got Hume Highway, so I'm going to go with that, because a local probably put that there. A little slab of asphalt here. It's amazing, and I would have loved, of all the duplication between Tarcutta and Tarcutta and Edamoga, didn't work on this bit. I would have loved to work on this bit to see what it looked like before the duplication went in. The fight they would have had to keep this here, obviously working on those jobs, I know how much they fight to keep the trees, especially old trees like that and that old gnarly thing there, how much they fight to keep that sort of stuff. But the heritage stuff normally it doesn't have a second consideration. But I'm just amazed that they would have had machines working metres away there, and then this old bit of road stayed. And there is sections further up where the old head culverts are still there and that sort of thing, and now this wind picks up. I hope it's not affecting the microphone, because I'd left the external mic back in the truck. But yeah, just a little bit of history from Highway 31 back in the day. The Tarcutta Bog, as they called it, centralised at Little Billabong, which is just over here, but it did have several places along the Hume where the road was a disaster. But that's it for Little Billabong, that's it for Tarcutta. We are going to walk back up this hill to the truck and head back to the yard and see what's going to happen with these pellets for Bunnings. Obviously the Albury stuff's going to come off. I don't know about Wodonga being a Friday, so I'm going to stay on and get delivered to Savo tomorrow. Hopefully I don't have to unload it at all, but we'll get back to the truck and keep on heading south, and I'll see you back at the yard. So that's us done at one of the scenes of the Tarcutta Bog. I'll throw a photo up here too, scratching around the leaves down there. You still see some of the white lines, the centre line as well, or yellow lines back in the day. I'll throw that photo up here quickly, but just the last little remnants, the old asphalt here and the yellow line, centre line, still there. Massive thank you to Bruce Gunter of the Copy Southbound podcast for supplying some of the photos from his old man. Back in the days he used to come down here in his comma, which would have been a special trip. And also Bernie Grimson, one of the 6 involved in Razorback, fought to keep this bit of old highway here when the duplication was going in. They were just going to bulldoze over it, but he put it in his 2 bob worth, and it stayed here. I don't know why I kept on saying plaque earlier. I just meant a sign, some sort of signage to say what the significance of this area was. There's nothing. Those that travel to Hume will know there's a parking bay about 2 k's down the road, little Billabong parking bay, where toilet facilities, all that, and there's a big billboard there with information on it, but it's like the 2 local indigenous tribes that inhabited the area and some of the local wildlife that lives in the area too. There's no mention whatsoever on that board about the bog in 56, so that's just about going to do us. So yep, Copy Southbound. I'll put a link to the show in the description down the bottom. Apologies to those that frequent my channel. You would have all seen this already, but I think it was worth doing a special little one-off post on its own, because by the time I had it in the video there, not a lot of people would have seen it. They would have already turned off by then. So, but 1956, the Tarcutta Bog, one of the stretches along the Hume anyway, it was cut off. Tarcutta being the nearest town, but as I said earlier, there were several locations along here where the freeway was shut. I know it's probably asking a bit. If any of yous, well, probably not watching, would have experienced it, but if any of your parents experienced and you got photos, Aussie Trucking Highway 31 at gmail.com, emails in the description box as well. I'd love to see them, and if I can get more info on it and some more photos to try and do a bit more archaeology on the site to get photos to line up with whatever's left here to what was here in the day, I'll come back and do a reprise and visit the site again with some fresh photos. I reckon that'd be pretty good. But anyway, if you haven't watched any of my other stuff, Aussie Trucking on Highway 31, travel to Hume every day for work. Feel free to go and check some of my older videos out. If this is you, one and done, thanks for watching, and hope to see you again one day in the future.